Good seeing you. Good seeing you again. Thanks for being here. Hey,
how are you? It's good to see you.
Thank you.
Good to see you. How are you, sir? Good to see you. Nice to see you, sir.
You run the honor guard there.
Oh, yeah, a couple times a year.
Portland?
I come out for Christmas. How are you, sir? Good to see you.
Weeks, that's for
Good to see
sure.
you. Thanks for coming out.
Dylan, how you doing?
How are you?
Good to see
Thanks
you,
for
sir.
coming. How you doing, sir? Nice to meet you. Sir, how are you? Nice to see you.
Same here.
Dan, I'll need that. Okay, do you want me to start?
Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Craig is here to speak to you for a few moments. So I'll turn the floor over to the General and enjoy.
Thank you. Okay, can anybody not hear me? I guess they wouldn't say it. What's that? The guy in Philadelphia can't hear me? I'm General Wesley Craig. I'm the Adjutant General of the state of Pennsylvania, and I have the honor to command the Pennsylvania Army and Air National Guard. Also run the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, so we oversee the 6 veterans home here in the Commonwealth, where this line of you guys come from Delaware Valley. So it's great to see you and some of the staff here as well. First off, what I'd like to do is thank you all for your service. All those of you who served in uniform or who care about people who served in uniform, I want to thank you. As someone, I've now had the honor to serve for 40 years in the Army and the Army National Guard. So from me and the currently serving generation, thank all of you for what you did in your time. I also want to say thanks to the Veterans Muster and the Southampton Township Veterans Advisory Council for really caring about veterans, forming this muster, have a chance for you to, for any veteran to come in, ask questions, and get some help should you need it. I am sure all of you know that Pennsylvania is home to about 950,000 veterans, the 4th largest group of veterans of any state in the Union. Now, the veterans are all pretty much grouped into 3 groups. The World War II Korea veterans, which are 70 years old and older. The Vietnam era, which is my era, 50 to 70. And then the current global war on terror, those from 18 to about 50. So we in the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veterans Affairs have distinct challenges as we work with each group of veterans. Many of you have gone through and have experienced the horrors of combat, but you've all done it at different times, different parts of the world, different challenges. So we try to work and support that and realize that. I'd like to talk for a few minutes about the 3 major programs that the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs runs. The Veterans Trust Fund, Act 66 Veterans Outreach Services, and the brand new Governor's Advisory Council on Veteran Services. First, the Veterans Trust Fund. This was established in 2012 and administered by my department, the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. The initial source of funds came from the proceeds of the sale of the Scotland School for Veterans Children. I will tell you, it has grown significantly in the last 4 or 5 months by generous Pennsylvanians who have made a $3 donation when they renew their driver's license or renew their motor vehicle registration, as well as some proceeds from the sale of honoring our veterans license plates. In addition, working with the governor and the governor's budget office, we've had an additional $1 million proposed in the proposed state budget for the 14-15 budget as well. That's good to see money come into this fund, but what's more important to realize is what we do with this money once we get it. We basically advertise for competitive bids for any kind of organization that will do something that benefits veterans, whether it's retraining, whether it's medical help, whether it's outreach, whether it's homelessness, or whatever it is. As long as it meets our standards, we're interested in granting the money. One very prominent recent example of the funds, the Veterans Trust Fund, was used by PennDOT for get the veteran's identification on a driver's license. So if you haven't done that, either a photo ID or a driver's license, you do that online. You don't have to wait until your driver's license becomes due. You can do it anytime. And there is a potential, if you want to, you can check off and make a $3 donation. In 4 months, that's brought in almost $450,000, which is way more than I ever thought it would be. And although this designation, the license and the ID card is small, is one of the ways we in Pennsylvania have a chance of saying thank you to veterans. The other way the Veterans Trust Fund is making a difference here in Department of Military and Veterans Affairs is we will be announcing next week our first grant rounds of some $350,000. And they're going to all kinds of organizations, 9 different organizations that are supporting veterans, including the Philadelphia Multi-Service Center in Center City, Philadelphia, that concentrates on eliminating homelessness and also that concentrates on retraining veterans that need training. Ultimately, our goal for the Veterans Trust Fund is to build and expand partnerships with charitable organizations, veteran service organizations, and the county directors of Veterans Affairs to allow more and more support programs to be granted to veterans. And I'm proud to tell you in the next several weeks, we will be announcing our second round of grants for some $350,000, including one that will go targeted directly toward the TBI injuries and then the foregoing PTSD, the PTSD is post-traumatic stress disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, drawing a blank here, of which afflicts many people who are also victims of TBI, traumatic brain injury. The Veterans Outreach Services, or known as Grant 66 of 2008, is a second program I'll mention just shortly. Here, we administer a $2.3 million grant program. We employ some 54 members of American Legions, VFWs, AMVETS, Marine Corps League, and others. And these ladies and gentlemen are employed then by these organizations to be veteran service officers. They're the ones, if you have a problem and you're a veteran and can't quite understand what the Federal Department of Veterans Affairs is asking you to do, or the form you've got to fill out, or are you eligible, you can talk to these people, and they will they have been trained and understand the Federal Veterans Affairs Department, and they have been remarkably successful getting the very generous benefits that are due many, many veterans. On average, the people who use these VSOs receive more than twice as much as the veterans without help. The program has resulted in over 51,000 Pennsylvania veterans receiving more than $350 million worth of federal benefits that they would not have gotten if they did not talk to these people. On average, for every $1 we put in the program, some $124 come back to deserving Pennsylvania veterans. And finally, the last program I'll mention is one I'm most excited about. Several months ago, Governor Corbett signed an executive order that created the Governor's Advisory Council on Veteran Services. Now, this was a direction given to the Department of Military and Veterans Affairs to talk to all the different departments of the state government, and there are many, and discover what programs are available that they have in their department. So the ones initially told to cooperate include education, public welfare, corrections, probation and parole, labor and industry, drug and alcohol reduction, as well as my own Department of Military and Veterans Affairs. In short order, we discovered there are more than 40 programs resident in these departments of state government that have direct impact on veterans. The council has met twice, and will be meeting again next month. Very dedicated, very enthusiastic, and our mission is basically to discover the programs, we've done that already, publicize these programs to everybody in the veterans community, and that's a lot. 950,000 veterans need to find out about this. And then publish information so everybody knows what's out there for them. We will do this by 3 ways. We'll publish a trifold here, which will go out, numbering thousands of those, which will go out to the county directors of Veterans Affairs, organizations like right here in this Southampton Township, the VAC, all members of American Legions, VFWs, AMVETS, Marine Corps Leagues, and organizations like that. every member of the legislature, so everybody get an idea of what programs we actually have out there. We'll put it on websites because everybody learns information through the web, and we'll also publish an in-depth pamphlet that'll discuss each program, several paragraphs on each program. So in closing today, I focused my remarks on 3 programs primarily: the Veterans Trust Fund, the Act 66 Veterans Outreach Services, and the new Governor's Advisory Council on Veteran Services. You can be sure we will work hard to discover there are more programs out there and get that information out to everyone as we possibly can. Now, in addition, I should have one of my VSOs here, Phil Hilleshine. There you are, Phil. Phil knows all the answers. And if he doesn't know them, he's going to make up a few. I encourage you all to talk to Phil and the American Legion, anybody else who's here as well. If nothing else, get your name. If we don't have the answer, we will get the answer for you as well. So in conclusion, and then I'll open the floor for questions, the most important thing, though, is again, is the way I started. For someone like myself, who's had the honor to serve for more than 40 years now, it's important for you to know that I want to thank you, on behalf of all Pennsylvanians, for your service in your time, whether it was World War II, Korea, Vietnam, or the global war on terror. You have made a difference. You made a difference in your time. You make a difference now in your community. So, having said that, I want to thank you for inviting me here, and I'll open the floor for any questions. Anybody have any questions? Phil, you better pay attention. You're going to get all the hard ones. Yes, sir.
I think we want to thank the people of Pennsylvania for making these facilities for the veterans possible. I know our facility over there in the Northeast is a nice layout.
Delaware Valley Veterans Home, yes. Yeah, you're quite welcome. We have, those of you aware, we have 6 veterans homes and about 1,600 veterans and residents spread across the state, which we are quite proud of. The Delaware Valley home is an excellent one, run by a great commandant, Peter Hito. I'll tell him you said that. You'll be on KP tonight. Thank you, I appreciate that. Yes, sir.
Is there any veterans home on the table, new veterans homes on the table to house the people coming back from like Afghanistan?
At this point, there are no new veterans homes planned for Pennsylvania. And part of the problem is there's a very complex, a good part of our funding comes from the federal VA, probably about half of it, when we build and run a home. The federal VA has a very complex formula. It says, okay, you have so many veterans, so many homes, and right now, we would be at the bottom of the priority pile. You have to, they say there's a recognized need in the state of Pennsylvania for about 2,000, we have 1,600. To get on the top of the order, you have to have a recognized need of more than 2,000 or 3,000 beds that you need to have filled right now. So we're at the bottom of the federal priority pile, which makes it very difficult.
Does that include the wait list?
Yeah, yes. But at this point, no. Yes, sir.
Yes, I got a problem there, sir. Just with the homeless program you have,
Great.
I have a problem. My house collapsed in January, so I went to VA services for this. They were able to help, like, find a place for me, things of that nature. One of the criteria, though, was that I, of course, I had to be employed. Well, I'm not employed. I'm a full-time school student. So basically, they turned me away.
This is a federal program you talked to?
I'm sorry?
This is a federal program you talked to?
It was a VA services. They were through the multi-service center down on Flower Street. The people who want to go down and talk to. But what I'm getting is, what do I turn down from now? That was supposed to be.
See that guy in a white shirt there? You go talk to him.
We know each other very well.
Okay. Go talk to him, and there may be some state programs that we can apply, help you for. Or there also are private organizations that Phil's aware of, like the Pennsylvania Wounded Warriors. Not sure that would qualify, but there are other private organizations as well.
Right. Well, what I'm getting at, sir, is they had the service, but one of the criteria is you have to be employed. Well, I'm not employed. I go to school, but I still have income. Why would I turn away though?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what program you're talking about, but what I'm trying to tell you is there are other programs. Whatever program, they may have those rules. there are other programs that Phil will know about that where you may qualify. So talk to him and see where we can go from here.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Other questions? There's a bunch of sergeants here. You guys always have questions. I know it. I know better than that, that's for sure. Okay. No other questions? Feel free. Yes, sir.
You said that with that driver's license, the veteran driver's license, you can do that online. How do they verify that you are a veteran?
They send everyone who applies for this, the name comes to my department, Department of Military and Veterans Affairs, then we go do and find out if you're a veteran or not. So if you're not a veteran, don't try it, because I'm going to get you.
You'll be getting a letter from us.
Yeah, we've gone through this. There's a nice letter which says, we need to verify your veteran status, send a 214 or something like that. And then if you don't respond, then we get the not so nice letter say, listen, knucklehead, send us that, or we're going to pull your driver's license. Or that comes from PennDOT, and because I send the nice one, they send the bad one. If you haven't seen, it's right here. There's a little American flag right here at the bottom. That's where it is, with the word veteran underneath it. But yeah, we do verify that, and that falls under my department. Other questions?
Here, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't have a license,
You can qualify through PennDOT. You get a photo ID card. Yes.
Yeah, it'll go on your photo ID.
Same thing, and then you'll get a nice. If you can't verify it, you get a nice letter from us saying, okay, verify it. So we'll check with you too.
we'll just pretend.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
To qualify for the home income tax credit, you have to be 100% disabled. Is there any talk about lowering that to maybe 80%?
That really is a purview of the legislature. They talk about that. Every time I have a budget hearing, they talk about that. Most of the talk has been on the income threshold that you have to be under. Not much talk about not that I've heard at least, about changing the disability part.
Yeah, because you have to have 100% disability
You do.
rating to get the credit.
Right.
So no talk on that to lower it.
Not that I'm hearing, not questions. I get a lot of questions about the income level and things like that.
Okay.
But, I mean, and that's certainly something the legislature can, if they want to, change. That's up to them.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Other questions? Okay, I encourage you all to talk to the people here in the room who can probably answer the detailed questions you were shooting at me. Talk to each other, and I will tell you, if you need help for the Federal Veterans Affairs, the best thing to do is to talk to one of our VSOs, and they're tied in with the American Legion and the VFW. You get to a post, they can point you to one of the people who are trained and do this full time. Also, the Veterans Activity Center here at the VAC at Southampton Road, if they don't have the answer, they can also get you to the right person as well. Because someone who works in this whole area, if you try to understand federal law, it's very complex. So I always turn to experts, and that's what these people are with these shirts on here. So thank you all for having me here. I'm going to hang around for a bit. It looks like there's some free food here, so which is one of the reasons you all are here. I know anybody who's been in the service always looking for more food. And I'll tell Peter, what's your name? I'll tell Peter what you said. But thank you all. I mean, I'm glad to be here, and thank you all.